Welcome back to Let's Make a Game, a channel about making computer role-playing games using the free program Twine and the Sugarcube format for Twine. In this video, I would like to continue talking about my efforts to improve the game Beneath an Emerald Sky, which I made during the 30-day challenge. If you've been following this series, you'll remember that I wrote some code which simulated sending the different characters available to the player through the game many times in order to record how often each character won, and therefore get some information about whether the different characters were balanced. And what we found was that of the four characters, we had two that were sort of in the middle, one that was behind, the scientist, and one that was ahead, the detective. And as a result of that, I had to think of a way of making the scientist relatively better and the detective relatively worse, which I did. And I've now put that into the code and again run the testing code, simulating 200 runs of the game for each of the four characters. So what happened after the changes? Well, the gambler won 82 times, the farmer won 81 times, so the two characters that were in the middle are sort of still in the middle. The scientist won 65 times, so that character that was behind is still behind. The changes I made didn't improve their position, as I had hoped. But the detective, who was ahead, only won 80 times, so they're now winning sort of about the same as the other three. So we've got rid of one of the two problems, basically. We still have the problem that the scientist is not as good as the others, or appears not to be, and so I need to come up with a change to the plot, or an addition to the plot, which will deal with that. Now, there is a trope in science fiction and fantasy, although I haven't seen it in Sword and Planet, although the opportunity for it is there, so maybe it is in those works and I just haven't read the right ones. But the trope is that a character from modern times finds themselves among people with less advanced technology, and because of their scientific knowledge, for example, they might know when there's going to be an eclipse. That wouldn't apply in this case, but if it was happening on Earth, and they say, well, you better let me go or I'll darken the sun with my magic. And they don't believe him, of course, and then he goes, aha, and they think that he has the power to block the sun and therefore let them go. That actually happens in a Tintin story, but I'm sure that the Tintin story didn't invent it. Hello, Future James here. After recording this video, I remembered that this trope was in A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court by Mark Twain, in which a person from the then modern day, the 19th century, travels back in time, or perhaps imagines that they travel back in time, to the Middle Ages. Mark Twain might have got the idea from a real incident in which Christopher Columbus did something similar to trick a group of Native Americans or Indians, although in his case it was a lunar eclipse. The Tintin book in which that happens is called Prisoners of the Sun, if you're interested. Anyway, back to the video. Now, that is a potentially problematic trope, of course, because it can turn into a white guy tricking sort of superstitious non-white people. I think that's less dangerous in this particular setting. It is a possibility. I've been thinking about it. I can't think of a particular way in which that could happen, but it's a possibility. Up to now, I've just been maybe adding extra detail to things that happen, but I want to actually expand the story. In particular, I want, instead of the ending where if you are successful, the beloved character reciprocates your love and marries you, and that's fine, they don't immediately marry you. They send you off to do something else. And secondly, that there are problems after you marry, perhaps with people that were powerful within the society beforehand. So a very tropey example would be that you have a conflict with the high priest, for example. You try to stop human sacrifice and the priest is outraged and wants to raise a mob to sort of overthrow you as a horrible foreigner who's hypnotized our beloved ruler, etc. I believe that the next thing that's probably going to happen is that the ruler will send the hero, if they don't just have them killed immediately, they will send the hero off to prove themselves, probably by dealing with some aerial pirates in some other area of the kingdom. And I suppose I will have to think of ways in which scientific knowledge could be useful in doing that. But that's where I am at the moment, and it looks like I'm out of time, so I will leave it there for now. I hope that was useful or interesting to at least some of you, and I hope you will tune in next time.